Hi guys, welcome along to another episode of my Hornby hobby. So in this episode, in this bank holiday episode, I'm going to show you how to weather up your models. Now this can apply to any model. It doesn't just have to be an 040, it can be an 060, it can be a tender engine. It can be any model that you like. It's just the techniques that can be applied to any loco. So I'm going to be modifying my Lmmr 040. And what I'd like to do is add some dirt and filth dripping down the body, you know how a real engine would. So you'll need a couple of things. You'll need obviously the loco that you're going to be working on, some cotton buds, Humbrol and well, ideally not enamel but acrylic because then it dries quicker. But I've got a matte 32 here, a lollipop stick, you'll see why in a minute, your box of tricks, and also a ramekin of water, just cold water. So dip into your box of tricks and find your slotted screwdriver. And while you're in there, find your paintbrushes. So which one would be the best for this job? Well, I want it to be quite light, so I'm going to be using this one. Did I mention that you also need some tissue roll or some form of tissue paper? So let's get on with it. So this is the brush that I'm using. I don't know what the hell you call it. I really ought to learn the names of these things. And make sure you put the cap somewhere safe. Now then, first thing you're going to do is you're going to detach the 040 body from the chassis. And I thought you could just pop it out, can you? No. So remove the two screws on the bottom of the body. So I'll try and keep all this in frame as much as possible. So yeah, you'll take away this bottom strip, and what it'll do is it'll allow you access to the little tab. So you can get, there we go. I probably didn't need to do that, to be honest. But remove the screws anyway, because one of them is slightly longer than the other, and there is a post on the loco's bodywork which it goes into. So you only really need to get rid of the longest one. So try and keep all your pieces together and safe. And if necessary, you can use masking tape to mask off any areas that you don't want to do immediately. So looking at this model, I want to kind of have some bits of, well, dirt, I'd say, running on the bottom of the tanks and onto the running board. So let's just get some black paint. Oh, hang on, that's not the right one, that's the dark grey. Where's the black? Right, here we go. Never mind. Okay, so I've actually got a satin black paint, which is number 85. I really do hope all this is showing up. Okay. And then I'm just going to stir it. And stir it really well. That's good. Just stir it up really well. There we go. That looks good. And then I'll just wipe any excess off like that. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to water the tip of my paintbrush And the reason for that is I don't want the paint to be too thick. I want it to be nice and thin, so then it creates nice streaks. Okay, so don't forget that there is often paint on the lid that you can use, so use that. I'm going to try and show you this in a minute. So what I want is for it to be upwards. So I'll just do just kind of lightly cover up the tank. So let me show you. So that's lightly covered. Now you're just going to give it just a couple of seconds just to dry it. Then what you're going to do is take a cotton bud and you're going to smudge it into the bodywork a bit more. You kind of wipe away most of it, but that's fine, because that's what you want. Okay, so that's the first tank. Again, I hope this is showing up. And I think that looks good. You can still see the logo, but you can see it's behind loads of dirt. So all that remains is to do it on the other side. So I'm just going to water down my paintbrush a little bit more. And then get some more paint on it. And do the exact same thing again. So paint. You're better off using powders for this, but I don't have any, so I'm just using what I've got. So again, just cover the whole tank. And you could, if you wanted to, just leave it like that. But I plan to pretty much do the same thing to the whole model to make it look like, well, like I feel that it should. And then of course, take your cotton bud and just wipe upwards in the direction that you painted it on. So wipe upwards, turn, swivel it around. It can also leave some spots dirtier than others. So, you know, make one of the M's or one of the letters slightly, well, less visible, I guess. And I think just by doing that, it's made it look a lot better. And then again, just repeat the same process. Wet your paintbrush, and then I'll go into the paint thing this time. And not too much paint on your paintbrush. And then I'll just get the bit of red on top of the cab. And maybe a touch more on the thing. And just leave it for that couple of seconds just to let the very first bit of the paint soak into the body. Okay, so that's enough. And then just swipe upwards. And this is to make it look like the dirt and soot from the funnel have been, you know, scattering around the engine. And I do think that looks awesome. It's kind of like how we did that truck some time ago. You probably don't need to wet your paintbrush every single time, but I'm going to do it just because. And you only really need the tiniest little dab of paint on your paintbrush. And just work slowly to get every bit of the model that you want to paint. You could, if you wanted to, use your finger and just a quick swipe up, and it'll probably do the same effect. You can probably use kitchen roll as well. And there's probably loads of different techniques that you can use to really make your model shine. And of course, the longer you leave the base layer to dry, the dirtier it will look. So you don't want to get rid of every bit of it. And it doesn't matter if it's not as symmetrical as the opposite side. I mean, that 4 is much dirtier than that one, which is fine. Now, as for doing the top, if you've probably still got some paint left on your paintbrush, then just slap it onto small areas like that. And then again, just wipe the paint in a direction which you feel would all add to the effect. There we are, that's the top of the 2 tanks. And it is really starting to look better. And then the back of the cab, I only want to be done lightly. So obviously I can just dab on smears of paint. There we are, this is looking pretty good. This is about right, effect-wise. Okay, so that's the effect I've gone for on the back. And then all that's pretty much left to do is do the top. So I'll wet the paintbrush again. And again, just the slightest dab of paint. So obviously I want paint, or rather I want soot raining down from the top. So if you just rain it down from the top, like so, and then do it over onto the other side. And then maybe try and get it to meet the bottom, you know, around the boiler. So just do it a little bit at a time, and then smear it into the bodywork. And just take your time. And of course you could probably add dabs of water to it. So I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, it really does look like there's been grubby handprints all over it. And then I've still got a little bit of paint left on the thing, because obviously we want this to look like all soot from the chimney or the funnel has been raining down on it. And then we do the same thing again with the top, with the top tank, top of the boiler, whatever you want to call it. Try and get every little bit in that you can. The dirtier it looks, the more real it'll look. Because this has been doing a lot of work on my line, on my railway, since I got it. Right, I'm just going to lightly swab away some too much paint. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, that we're pretty much almost done. Let me just check to make sure that everything's still fine. Yep. So that's what it looks like on the top. I really hope this shows up. I'll try and get a better finished product I'll try and show you better when we've finished. And then you can do the buffer beams as well, because obviously they'd be pretty dirty, wouldn't they? And just do it a little bit at a time. There's not really any rush. And just take away what you feel is right. There we go, that's a nice effect. I like that. The way it looks like the paint, the soot has been dripping down the back of the coal bunker. I like that. And because I'm doing this really lightly, what it means is that it will take less time to dry. You can dirty up you can dirty up pretty much any part of the model that you think will look good. I mean, that looks too dirty, but no worries, that's why. Okay. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, that we're done. I've gotten pretty much every piece of it. So what's very important is once you're certain that you're finished, rinse your brush off in the ramekin, and then the tissue paper, you just make absolutely sure that it's clean, and then put your lid back on the paint, and then store it for another day. Pack away all your tools, throw away any bits that you don't want. Okay. Now you're better off leaving this to dry before you reassemble it. So here we go. Oh God. The model looks beautiful for me. I'm sorry if it doesn't look good for you. One moment. I should have switched the light on that was above my desk. Okay, try this. That's even worse. Well, I could probably show you in a video at a later date once there's a better lighting. But for me, that looks beautiful. It does look exactly like how I want it to. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you weather up your models. And the best thing is that you can apply this technique to any loco, big, small, short, tall, any size, any scale. The possibilities are endless. The only limit is your imagination. So this video is getting a bit long-winded, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then like, comment and subscribe. Always much appreciated. Stick around for content around in the future. Stay safe, and until next time, thanks for watching.